And the next panel, again with Alex leading as moderator, is sovereign and confidential AI, a subject we just touched upon, but I'll hand over to Alex, who'll lead from there.
Mike, I guess, can I take it? Yes, take it.
All right. Hey, guys. Well, we know each other, but maybe a quick intro for the audience and for the camera. So just a little bit about you guys and what you're doing in the world of AI.
Yep. Hello, everyone. I'm Shelven from Phala Network, and I'm the lead researcher. So I'm the author of our white paper, and now I'm responsible for the whole system design. Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe you can push the button there.
Yeah, hi, I'm Yannik, co-founder and CEO at ARCIUM. ARCIUM is a confidential computing network, secure multi-party computation based. And I mostly focus on high-level architecture decisions. I leave the detail work to our PhDs and professors.
So what are you guys working on specifically in the AI space? How do you apply your tech to that particular vertical?
Yeah, so ARCIUM serves as a generalized confidential computing network. So what we've started with is basically building confidential computing for on-chain applications. So to be able to build confidential DeFi, confidential stablecoin payments, confidential execution for any kind of application. So really serving as sort of a replacement as well for trusted server infrastructure. So just to allow developers and applications to evaluate confidential functions within smart contracts on existing blockchain networks. So not requiring them to move to a dedicated network, but instead allowing them to have confidentiality where they're already at, where they already have their apps. In regards to confidential AI, how we mainly got started in confidential AI, I would say, is by us acquiring our largest Web2 competitor, who've been around for roughly 8 years and have done a lot of in the confidential AI and federated learning space, but in the traditional space. So they've done a lot of contracts with defense, with healthcare, with TradFi, doing learning and inference in a confidential way, multi-party computation based as well. And so we've acquired them and merged those worlds together, open sourcing their patents and everything to build this open foundational layer on top of which all kinds of cryptographic confidential computing can be done.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I like what you did with the patents. It's a bold move. All right. So Shelven, what, like in a couple of words, what's your part in the AI space? Which is it's an important part.
Yeah, I think we just share the same insights in this. So we all, at the early years, we are working on SGX, and now we are embracing the latest TE technology of TDX and also the TE GPU. So we have conducted some experiments to ensure like the TE GPU is ready to use. So we run the performance benchmark, we run some open source models, and also those, for example, like the Llama, and also the other models on the TE GPU to see how will this look like. So I think first the performance is totally okay. So it can achieve like 90% of the performance just via the bare metal hardware. So I think there is totally no problem to try to get the AI model running inside of it. So, and I think the next direction for our part is we will focus on the use case of AI agents. For example, this including, for example, run the AI training and AI inference process inside the GPU, and also to try to enable like the autonomous AI agents. So, which is the AI that's really controlled by the machine instead of anyone. So to ensure the data privacy, to ensure, okay, any like rules you set in the AI agent is enforced with hardware that cannot be easily changed. So, yeah.
Okay, super interesting. So the title of this panel is Sovereign and Confidential AI. So what's your take? Like, what does it mean, sovereign and confidential? So what is like the meaning you put into those words? And I'll give my version as well after that.
I feel like confidential AI on its own has multiple aspects to it. The way I like to think about it is being able, in the ideal case, if it makes sense from a product standpoint, I guess, to use this kind of infrastructure to build sort of end-to-end encrypted AI. So to be able to have training in a completely confidential way, have fully encrypted model weights, and then run inference inside of those model weights, also in a confidential way. So to have any access point to sensitive data be fully encrypted, fully confidential. I think that's what, in the ideal case, could be achieved with confidential AI. Sovereign AI really, I think, goes into the direction of AI agents as well. So to be able to have an AI agent that actually autonomously executes, an AI agent that has a verifiable output production, and this verifiable output production originates from confidential execution. So I feel like that's part of the sovereignty. I think what's an important aspect and often overlooked in that regard as well, I feel like, is that there's a bigger picture to all of that, which I feel like would be responsible AI as well. So I think privacy is one dimension for responsible AI. Explainable AI, I think, is another dimension that also needs to be a part of it, especially once confidentiality is introduced. Explainability can suffer from that. So we've just recently published a paper on explainable privacy-preserving AI, where we can basically have those encrypted evaluations while still being able to produce SHAP values, for example, to gain insights into what caused specific predictions to occur.
Okay, but isn't there like a slight contradiction between all the model training and weights being fully confidential and users' trust in this model? Like,
yeah, so I feel like if we're looking at really this end-to-end encrypted system, which is still a vision for the future, I feel like, but I think you can have trust because it becomes this closed feedback loop of higher quality data being used to produce the models, because you can have confidential data sets, isolated confidential data sets as training source, and on top of that, you can have verifiability. So it's not you pinging some proprietary model you don't know the source from, but it's actually you have the entire source. It might be confidential, but you at least from an algorithmic standpoint, you know what happened and what you're running predictions in.
Okay, great. Shelven, your take.
So I think for the confidential AI, so yes, definitely the data privacy is very important for the users. I will use 2 points to support that. So the first is about the data you can use to train the model, just as you have said. So like, actually, for example, the training of OpenAI, it has already exhausted like all the public data available on the internet. So this means if we want to actually I would say that the amount of data is the key aspect of the quality of your model. So this means if we want like better data in the future, better model in the future, this means we will definitely need more data to train it. So how to persuade users, okay, your valuable data can be used to train this model without the worry about the data leakage or the data used in some unexpected way. So this is what TE can be used to ensure both the confidential and also to enforce, okay, the data is correctly used. And on the other hand, I talked to some users, and they really have some worries. So, for example, let's take Apple as an example. So, one of the moves that Apple are doing recently is that first they are updating their memory for all the Mac. You can see now the latest Mac products, they are equipped with at least like 16 gigabytes of memory. Why they are doing so? This is because the solution from Apple is that they will separate the model into the client and the server side. So for the very sensitive data, their promising is that, okay, your data is only processed in your local machines and will not leave your computer, so it will not be uploaded to the cloud anymore. So, but actually, if we can persuade that, okay, all the data are like processed in the TEE, actually I think the concern from users can be greatly addressed. And and on the other hand, for the souvenir, like AI, still I will talk about the autonomous agent. I think if we can ensure that the AI running in the machines cannot be interfere with human control, this will be a very important primitives, I think. So just imagine, for example, we can now we already have some machine control AI agent that's available on the X, and it has very frequent interaction with people. And also, you can see from the backend, we can see that, okay, the user, they are doing very interesting interaction with the agent, because they are convinced, okay, this agent is really controlled by the machine. They will like airdrop some token to the agent directly. And they are not worried that, okay, someone will steal the tokens. And similar things can be applied to the other Web2 services. For example, we can have AI agents that to the TikTok, yeah, but it's really controlled by Web3 world. So I think this is a very interesting idea I have heard recently, is that AI agents in the TE can be used as a bridge that between the Web3 smart contract and the Web2 services in this way, yeah.
Yeah, what I really feel like is a crucial aspect here is that those systems really need, from a user standpoint, I feel like for achieving sovereignty and confidentiality, remove the trust. I feel like that's one of the big issues we see from end users and from businesses. I feel like ChatGPT and really opened their eyes for retail users of making AI tangible, and many businesses are not able to use these kind of tools, which are still immature tools, but for many use cases already powerful enough. But many businesses can't use those tools due to privacy concerns, due to not being able to send their prompts to some company sitting somewhere in the world and collecting all of that data. So removing the trust and basically just producing a cryptographic proof that the data has been processed in a certain type of way, removing single points of failure, removing trust assumptions, I feel like really is key to achieving confidential and sovereign AI, and also having AI agents that you can trust with your assets, right? That you can trust all of those. I mean, for AI agents, I feel like it's really mostly about the execution, the correct execution, as you said, purely machine-based algorithmic execution, right? You have some predefined rules where you expect, okay, it should execute based on those rules. It should run some inference, some predictions, but it's still algorithmic rules at the end of the day. And so you want verifiability for that. You don't want to have to trust that you give your assets to those models, which is an interesting aspect, because otherwise confidential computing would just be used for privacy, right? Protecting the data. And here it's about protecting asset ownership again.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that the issue of metadata is also quite important to protect, like the fact that somebody is accessing certain model. This should also be, people should also be able to protect that, because if I'm accessing some sensitive kind of models, like a medical model trained for a specific disease, or therapy, or romantic relationships model, it's probably something that I don't want other people to know at all. The next question that I had, like, how natural is the connection between AI and blockchain? Like, is it a real connection, or is it something that we're just putting together because both are cool?
I feel like in the case of the kind of technology that we're using, it's sort of this natural fit, right? Because with secure multi-party computation, you want to run on a distributed set of nodes. So you have this distribution of participants. You have cryptography, and in our case, what we've designed is a accountability protocol. So we're operating in the dishonest majority trust assumption. So for us, the trust assumption is that there's a large set of nodes and there's at least one honest participant. And I feel like actually down the line within ARCIUM, we'll see TEs as well acting as sort of constant trust reductions for those honest participants. So you can even further reduce this scalable trust assumption that we're operating in with the dishonest majority trust assumption. But my point is that this kind of trust assumption in the past really has been difficult to execute in, because on the flip side, it always came with incredible practical limitations, and those practical limitations were censorship, because with this low trust assumption, there's on the other hand a high risk of participants not running computations, not executing those kind of computations, and we overcame that by connecting that with blockchain, by having a cryptographic accountability protocol that allows to identify any kind of misbehavior, and then by employing a staking and slashing mechanism, we can punish that misbehavior. So that's really this incredible natural fit that makes this theory now suddenly super practical. So I think that's an important connection. I think there's logic to building decentralized AI, be it for training or be it for inference, and for AI agents. And access to these kind of tools is the I mean, if it should be trustless, then it has to be in a distributed setting, and if those things are running in a distributed setting, you want future-proofness, especially if sensitive data is involved, right? If it's not just ephemeral data that is being processed, but if it's actually data that leaves traces. So that's why I feel like we need to try to have the lowest possible trust assumptions and highest cryptographic guarantees. At the same time, and I think you touched on that earlier, I think what's a really interesting connection with AI agents is that blockchains are this amazing layer over which parties can find consensus, that this becomes the settlement layer for financial transactions, for example, right? And so AI agents play really beautifully into that system, because now it becomes possible to have everyone operate on the same system, including autonomous agents that can have this native notion of what monetary value is and how it should be transferred in a sort of cryptographic way.
Okay, makes sense. So I want to jump to the next question, which is risks. Are there any risks in making AI confidential? Risks maybe related to compliance or to any other aspects that you can think of? That's the question, right? We know that establishment prefers things not to be confidential, so I'm curious on your thoughts on AI, confidential AI, and how that would play out.
From my point, I think, so first, actually, the AI model itself is already a very black box thing, because actually, I don't think the AI model itself is totally explainable. So just imagine we are put a black box, make it confidential means we are put a black box into another black box. So this make the behavior of AI is even harder to predict or control. So yeah, and but to be more practical, so I'll say like I think a very practical challenge for the AI developer will be like the for example the debug things. So when we put the AI into the TE, so how can they successfully like debug or improve the AI model without leaking the user's privacy? Because we have a very strong promise already there. Yeah, okay, put the AI model in TE. Okay, so your data privacy is totally protected. But okay, so now at the other time, we actually kind of to enable the developers to interfere with it, to debug it, to improve it. Actually, we are kind of opening the back door for them to do so. So this is, I think, can be really hard challenge for us to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like the more powerful models become, and I think that's also some of the motivation behind the regulatory efforts that we are seeing. The more powerful those models become, regulators and people want to restrict them, right? They want to say, okay, only certain parties can use them in different ways. And I actually feel like we can do that without regulation by having decentralization and confidential computing. Because if we have those agents and models be encrypted and not accessible to anyone, but have access control rules with smart contracts, for example, it now becomes possible to use those models in a secure way. So I feel like these systems can actually to truly secure AI, because it's now not required to trust anyone anymore, to trust any parties. Instead, there's this sort of open access, but it still follows certain rules. So I feel like that's a powerful aspect that will help also arguing for decentralized AI.
So do you mean like access control, like only certain users can access certain models? Is that?
I mean, that could be an aspect for it, but yeah, it's I feel like similar to how you could perform AML checks, right, in a confidential way for certain actions, right? So you can have models and models before those models checking the prompts and stuff like that. So I feel like you can just build this sort of access control that with algorithmic rules enforces only certain access to those models, which otherwise wouldn't be possible.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess I have two more questions. So the next one is, do you think AI and the realization of its power and the need for privacy, do you think it will drive global privacy awareness to be stronger, or will it be the other way around? Like, or global privacy awareness will be like the question is, will AI and the related privacy confidentiality questions be like a driver for wider privacy awareness in general, or is it the other way around?
I feel like privacy awareness is something that I think it's important that we are public about privacy and also pushing it in the ecosystem and on a regulatory basis. But at the same time, I feel like what matters most, and otherwise there will never be substantial enough adoption for privacy technology, is that we enable better applications and better products to be built with it. And I think that's the way of succeeding. And I feel like that's actually one of the big problems that privacy has faced in the past in the blockchain space, especially, that it has been solely framed as a political issue, and we should do that because it protects the individual. I feel like that's the end we can achieve by making the privacy as accessible and powerful as possible, because then it's just the most logical choice for everything. I mean, at the end of the day, it boils down to two aspects, right? If we don't have privacy, there's no freedom for the individual, sure. But something that's a more pragmatic argument, I feel like, is that if you don't have any privacy, if you have backdoors, if you have trusted entities, then anyone can use those backdoors, right? It's not just the the governmental agencies that want to help you, right? It's also the other guys.
So that's the problem of decentralized AI in a way, right? Because you don't even know who is sitting on the other side, right?
Exactly. So I feel like that's why decentralized AI can really bring more powerful features to the table. I think one of the best examples really is being able to process way more sensitive data, because and that's actually where Infra, the company that we've acquired, have been doing a lot of their MPC work in the past. It's really about maximum data protection, where you can be 100% cryptographically convinced, okay, there's no chance of anyone seeing that data. And so by being able to state something like this, it becomes possible to access this whole new pool of data. And as you pointed out, at some point you're running out of data, and the most valuable data is data that isn't being accessed right now, although Apple Intelligence might be starting to access it, right, with screening all of your messages and your health kit records and stuff like that. So I feel like decentralized AI can be powerful and in turn enable privacy, which benefits all humans, but it doesn't actually necessarily be this public thing where now everybody says, oh, we have privacy because it's just superior, and people will just have privacy in their everyday lives. I feel like that's actually what we want to achieve, people not caring about privacy, because the past has shown that people care about the best UX,
usability. All right, so we're almost at time. So just to finish this off, what does the future of AI hold? Where will we be in 3-5 years from now? How everything will change, or how will AI change? Just your wildest ideas and predictions.
To me, I think first, I think the centralized AI and decentralized AI should be developed in a very different direction, because in the centralized AI, so they are more like be used as a service. So just imagine, I think the centralized AI will be a very important tools to improve the user experience. So because I think it's a very important, because with these well-trained AI, what we can do is that, for example, every interaction with the service can be replaced in like natural language. So I think many users will use, and many service provider, they will use it to improve the user experience, to attract more users there. But I think the decentralized AI will evolve in a very different direction, because there is really no human beings behind that AI agent, and we can ensure that. So this means now the AIs, they can really operate independently.
You're talking about those agents, right? The TE-based agents that are guaranteed to work alone.
Yeah, now these AI agents, they are still doing the very simple things, just like send some Twitter, doing some entertaining jobs, like this. But if we can ensure those AI, they can really operate on themselves, this means AI will be like human and take some roles in our society. For example, they can be the CEO, they can be the DAO owners, they can be one part of the multi-key owners to like help to involve in the governance of the organization, or even the human ourselves. So but I don't know whether this could be a good thing or bad thing.
That may be a dystopian future.
The agents, they can join the election of the U.S. president and get win.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah.
Wow. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Since we talked about agents so much, what I would say is that we will actually be able to have this notion of end-to-end encrypted AI, where we can actually finally start using our most sensitive data, where we can explore entirely new kinds of models. As you pointed out, maybe romance models, right? Maybe some super advanced healthcare models, because this pool of data that now can be used is infinite, right? It's any kind of information. And I'm a incredibly strong privacy advocate, but I would love to give all of my data into some super safe, cryptographically guaranteed, secure training process. But that now becomes possible with decentralized systems and multi-party computation, homomorphic encryption, right? And so I think that's one of the big value propositions that we'll see in the future.
Yeah, I also think that with with the proliferation of very good open source models, the AI can be democratized, decentralized, but it must be confidential, it must be protected. So, TEs are one of the, or probably the only technology that can do that, like really end to end. So I do hope
I would disagree with that.
well, right. So I think a lot of the future use of AI will lie in this decentralization and using pre-trained open source models with probably private RAG or maybe some fine tuning, because we know that training a new model is like a daunting task. That's only available, unfortunately, to those behemoth companies and not so much to. But maybe this will be democratized as well. That would be also a very welcome development in the future. Well, I guess thank you very much. It was a great panel, great minds. I learned a lot. And, let's continue working on the future of AI. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.